or good evening, Hoboken family. So thank you so much for joining us tonight and for coming to learn more about our Hoboken preschool program. So before I begin tonight, I think I've introduced myself to anybody who doesn't know me. My name is Kim Mara. I am the proud director of the Early Childhood Department here in Hoboken. I began my educational journey here back in 2009 as a preschool teacher, so it's kind of nice to be back in the swing of things where I started. I taught kindergarten and first grade at Wallace for 11 years. I switched over to being the proud VP at Joseph F. Bryant Elementary School last year, and then came back to my home roots in preschool this year, and it's been a joy to get to do that. So, couple things to go over. We are going to put a frequently asked question sheet in the chat, so you can look at that during the presentation, after it, anything at all. We have answered all of the questions that you have submitted beforehand, so we have that ready to go. If you need to ask a question, the Q&A will be paused during the slideshow, which I sent all of you along with our link for tonight's viewing. So that is that. Now, we have some of my favorite human beings on the planet, our early childhood staff, here to help answer some of your questions. They are live. They are the names that you see up top, along with me. So we have Miss Diana Milne. She is our CPIS. We have our preschool instructional coaches, Miss Giselle Rodriguez Flora, Miss Yahara Santiago, Miss Kristen Shadiak. Then we also have our HERS team, Miss Carolyn Best, Dr. Yesenia Flores, Miss Tracy Schulten, and Miss Loretto Martinez. They are here to answer questions for you live. If there's something that isn't in that frequently asked questions doc, they will be able to answer it for you. We stuck that frequently asked questions page in the chat now, so feel free to browse whenever you want to. So we are going to have a lot of people on tonight, so there might be a chance that your question does not get answered. And that's okay. We have your email. We can email you back, but for the most part, we are pretty on top of answering all of your questions. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to go through the slideshow. Ms. Milne and I are going to walk you through it, talk about our program, our staff, and the registration process, which is really why everybody is here. So I am going to share my screen. And we are going to start. Okay. So we have two providers here in Hoboken for our preschool. We have Miles Square Early Learning Center and Hopes. Best part about it is they are two separate ones, but they teach exactly the same way. So you don't have to worry about your child getting anything different from either provider. They both teach the exact same thing. We are a former ABIC district. So what does that mean? As a former ABIC district, Hoboken receives funding from the state of New Jersey to provide age-eligible 3- and 4-year-olds with a full day of high-quality preschool programming. Year after year, our program builds, and it's probably one of the most exciting things here, because every year we get to add more classrooms and have more children attend our program. So, meeting our staff. You know, it's me, Kimberly Mara. I'm the director of early childhood. We have Miss Diana Milne, which is our community parent and involvement specialist. We have Renee Banks, who is our program nurse, and Miss Denise Valentin Brooks is our program secretary. If you call my office, you are going to reach either Denise or Diana. They are both a wealth of knowledge and information, and any questions you have, those are the two voices you are going to hear on the end of the phone. Now, when it comes to our preschool instructional coaches, some of you who may have had children in our program beforehand would know them as master teachers, but the state likes to change names up every so often. So now we are going by preschool instructional coaches. There is Miss Nicole Ligo, Miss Giselle Rodriguez Flora, Miss Yahira Santiago, and Miss Kristen Chadian. Some faces to go with names. Our preschool intervention and referral specialists, they used to be the preschool intervention and referral team. Once again, going through a little bit of a name change, but still the same wonderful people. Miss Carolyn Best, Dr. Yesenia Flores, Miss Loretto Martinez, and Miss Tracy Choldhood. You'll learn a little bit more about what they do later on in the slideshow. And it wouldn't be Hoboken without talking about our two lovely providers. Miss Judy Barmack is the Executive Director of Miles Square Early Learning Center. And Miss Jocelyn Estevez Vargas is the Vice President of Early Childhood Programs for Hopes. They are wonderful at what they do, and it is a pleasure to get to work with them day in and day out. Okay, basics. So our classroom requirements and support staff. There is one preschool through third grade certified teacher and one paraprofessional in each classroom. There is a maximum of 15 students allowed in a classroom. So I use Connors as an example. We have one pre-K3 class at Connors. Being that we have one pre-K3 class, I can only house 15 students there, no more. So if you move closer to Connors and that is the building that is closer to your home and that classroom is at 15, your child cannot go there, but there are plenty of sites that are around there for them to attend. Each classroom is supported by our PIC and our PERS. These members of my staff work to coach teachers. They're not in the classroom to do any sort of interventions with your children, but they are there to coach the teachers to do the best that they can with the curriculum, with social emotional learning, and lots of different stuff. Our operating hours, we are not like a daycare. We are a full-time 6-hour per day program. It is high quality. We follow the district schedule. We do not offer a half-day pre-K program. And I will repeat that again. We do not offer a half-day pre-K program. I know that's very different from a lot of the private programs around, but when you have such a high quality program, it is a full day, jam-packed 6-hour day for your children. There is before and after school care, and it is offered at all locations, but it is not offered during the weeks that school is not in session. There will be a fee depending on income level and amount of time you wish to participate, but that is something that you are going to inquire with your provider for the 2023-2024 school year. I'm going to toss this out there now. You will find out once you register your provider in June. Around June 15th, you will not find out before then. You will get a letter that tells you who your provider is and what location you will be at. You will not find out teacher, you will not find out classroom number. That comes later on in the summer. The RAP program for before and after school care is handled by each provider. Attendance. This is something that I find that we're constantly talking about. Students are expected to attend school daily unless they are ill. Obviously, if they're sick, we want them to feel better, not get everybody else sick, and come back when they are well. It is recommended that a doctor's note accompanies them when they return, if at all possible. Now, we also understand that there are going to be times that you have a family emergency, that something is going on, that you have to take your child out of school and go to. We completely understand. The biggest thing I ask is that you would let your family advocate know, and you would let Denise know in the office the reason for why you're leaving and how long. Now, if you're planning on going on a vacation, please be aware of our school calendar when planning vacations. They will be logged as absences and will be reflected on your student's school record. So if you can make it that you're vacationing when we are off, that would be even better. Food services. We do currently work with Chartwells for both Mile Square and the Hopes Branch site. And I say that specifically because Hopes at Connors, Jubilee, and Rue are the 3 buildings that your child is not allowed to bring outside food with them. They get their breakfast and snack and lunch made for them daily by the site. Branch is the only school that Hopes is at that they are allowed to bring outside food in. They are also allowed to use Chartwells to order. Mile Square, everybody can either bring their food or order from school. We are a nut aware district from pre-K all the way up. We do accommodate for allergies and food restrictions due to health and religious reasons. I do say right now that we use pay schools. As we all know, things can change, but right now you pay and you pre-order for your preschoolers' lunches through pay schools if you are at Mile Square or Hopes Branch and are ordering food. Okay, the meat and potatoes of what we do in preschool is our program curriculum. So here we have Tools of the Mind. I'm a little biased on it because I've taught it for so many years that I do love it, but it is one of my favorite curriculums to teach in preschool. It is a research-based early childhood model that helps young children to develop the cognitive, social, emotional, self-regulatory, and foundational academic skills they need to succeed in school and beyond. So with this being said, Tools of the Mind knows how a child's mind works. So what they do is they focus on small groupings to work with the students so that they have small group and large group instruction. And that helps them to promote self-regulation, focused attention, deliberate memory, symbolic thinking, early literacy, and early numeracy. So do we expect all children to be able to read and know all their numbers by the time they leave pre-K? Absolutely not. Does it happen? Sometimes yes, and that's okay. Every child works on their own level, and Tools of the Mind goes by a scaffolded approach. So every child gets their needs met, no matter where they are on the learning scale. So a typical preschool day contains a balance of small group and large group activities, including fine and gross motor skill development while allowing ample time for routines such as eating and toileting. Three and 4-year-olds have a lot of energy, a ton of energy, and we know that. And with that ton of energy comes probably the smallest attention span that you have ever seen. And because of that, that is why we take these small 15-20-minute sessions of small group of math and science for them to focus, get what they need, and move on to the next activity so they are never bored. They interact with one another academically, they build social relationships, and all while creating a positive classroom culture. All about the positivity in preschool. I know I mentioned that Mile Square and Hopes are the same, and this comes down to the curriculum as well. They receive an equal amount of time for academic instruction, gross motor activities, daily routines, and they also have time to mingle with their peers. They make friends with their classmates, and they are able to start learning how to problem solve and work out some problems and work out how to share and what to do when it comes to being in a classroom with 15 other kids who all want to do something different at the same exact time. Each classroom is going to have a different schedule. So you may have a friend that is in Mile Square at Wallace, you may have a friend who's in Mile Square at 770, and knowing that Their schedules are pretty much the same, but we also have to take into consideration the fact that there are over 800 students in pre-K here. So we have to make sure that we have schedules set so that the parks aren't overcrowded, the bathroom facilities aren't overcrowded, and kids aren't waiting for a long period of time. So you will notice that there are some differences in schedules. Here is a sample daily schedule. I can always tell you that arrival and that free choice play and dismissal will never change for anybody because that is how it is across the board. Your child enters the classroom, they participate in a great mystery question, they transition, they unpack, they hang their stuff up, they deal with food and all of that fun stuff. Then they go into opening group. This is where they do the basics: calendar, weather, sharing ideas, singing songs, showing off dance moves with the fan favorite freeze dance, and engaging in the message of the day. After that, there's going to be either their morning snack or breakfast, depending on where they're at. And then we go into play planning and make-believe play. This is something you're going to hear a lot about. Just so you parents know, in October, we always have a Tools of the Mind parent workshop that we do for all of you so that you learn a little bit more about the ins and outs of Tools of the Mind. But play planning and make-believe play is probably the most exciting time for them. This is where your child gets to actually sit down and plan out on paper what they want to do for the day. They plan it out, they draw their picture, they draw what they're going to do, and eventually they get to writing their lines and saying, I am going to, and picking one of the 6 centers that we have in each classroom to figure out what they want to do for the day. When they're done and they have planned out what they're going to do, they head off to do just that. In make-believe play, they play in their center using their plan to guide what they do. Then we usually have gross motor outdoor play. It is super important for all children to get outside, to run, to jump, to socialize, to play. So unless it is raining, snowing, extremely hot, or extremely cold, your children will go outside to play. They love it. We hear them outside giggling all the time, playing. It is their favorite part of the day aside from play planning. They'll come back in, small group math or science takes place. So during this time, children will be divided into 2 small groups, and they would engage in either a math or a science lesson. Maybe they're learning about number identification, making a one-to-one correspondence, or doing some life science observations and recording their findings. They'll then move to a large group read aloud. So at this time, they'll participate in a large group activity, which means everybody, all 15 of them, will be together on the carpet, maybe doing buddy reading, maybe doing a graphics practice activity. After that, you're going to go into lunch. Your children will wash their hands more than they have ever washed their hands in their entire life in pre-K. They wash their hands consistently. So we are all about the good hygiene. They will eat lunch, they will talk, they will enjoy their time with their classmates. Now, we got a lot of questions about rest time and nap time. So before I kind of go on with our schedule, I'm going to talk a little bit about this. Nap time is about an hour. Yes, there are a ton of children who do not nap. That's why we do our read aloud from a chapter book for the first 20 minutes. Everybody gets the chance to unwind, relax, listen. 9 times out of 10, they will nap, even if they don't nap for you at home because everybody else is, and they are doing a lot before this. So they might be tired enough that that nap is going to kick in. If not, the teacher always has quiet activities and different things for them to do while they're on their mat so that they're not running around and waking everybody up. So no, they do not have to rest every single day. Some of them will, some of them don't. And if not, we have different things for them. Next comes free choice when they wake up. So everybody wakes up at their own pace. Some kids lay there for a little while, some get up right away. Free choice is where they're allowed to take any offering of those 6 centers and go play with whoever they want. They don't have to plan it out. They don't have to figure out what they're doing. They can just go and play and be a kid. The final portion of our sample daily schedule is the small group literacy. And they split back up into 2 small groups. Maybe they talk about the different parts of the story, predict what will happen next in the story, or maybe just talk about what they liked most. And then after that is dismissal. So your children will get everything that they put in their cubbies, put it back in their backpack, and get ready for dismissal. And they'll go one of 2 ways. They'll either go outside so that they can dismiss, or they will either head to their aftercare program. So we talk about our preschool program being a high quality preschool program. And you might ask how we know it's a high quality preschool program, because we monitor our program quality consistently. So we use the Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale, the 3rd edition, as we lovingly refer to it as ECHRS 3. This widely used comprehensive assessment tool measures both environmental provisions and teacher-child interactions that affect the broad developmental needs of young children in the following categories: space and furnishings, personal care routines, language and literacy, learning activities, interactions, and program structure. Once district-wide assessments are completed and analyzed, we use that data to provide comprehensive professional development to all staff that will focus on these areas for potential growth and highlight areas of proficiency. So it is a coaching tool to help the teachers become the best at their craft. The teapot is what our PERS team uses. And it is the teaching pyramid observation tool, lovingly known as teapot. And it's an assessment instrument designed to measure the fidelity of implementation of practices associated with the pyramid model. So the pyramid model builds upon the tiered public health approach to providing universal support to all children to promote wellness, targeted services to those who need more support, and intensive services to those who need them. Social emotional goals and importance live in this space. So we want to look for classrooms that are nurturing and responsive, supportive, have all those social emotional practices, addressing challenging behaviors with things like a problem-solving toolkit, and connecting with families. So there were 2 screenings / assessments that you will hear talked about when you come into pre-K. The first one is the EASY, and children are screened with the EASY-R upon entering the program by the classroom teacher. The screening gauges several developmental domains and assists in simply identifying which children may be in need of further assistance. Basic things: building with blocks, walking in a line, jumping, just giving us a good benchmark to start to know where to start with them when we're scaffolding using the tools of the MIND curriculum. The other is teaching strategies gold. We use it to just collect some anecdotal evidence for 38 research-based objectives, which includes predictors of school success. It gives, similar to a report card, not quite like what your children get in kindergarten and up, but it gives you an idea of where your child's skills lie. Student progress. So connecting and communication with families is an essential part of our preschool program. We pride ourselves on communication. You will be in constant communication with your family advocate, your classroom teacher, your site director, and anyone else that comes in contact with your children. It's extremely important to make sure that you have those connections and relationships with the staff, because they know your child's daily routine in and out like the back of their hand. You have parent-teacher conferences held several times per year. We're back to being in person, and there's still the option for remote for those who work and don't have the time to come in. Parents may ask their child's teacher for information regarding the child's performance in the classroom at any given time. So, also, to promote that homeschool connection, which is extremely important in pre-K. 4 out of the 5 play plans are set home at the end of the week. So you can see what your child does in school every 4 out of 5 days out of the week. And once you start knowing the play plans, what they are, what they're doing, what the colors mean, it opens up that conversation piece with your child. Outdoor play. As I said earlier, it is extremely important for them to get outside, get those wiggles out, move and groove, and just be able to talk and have fun. Children do go outside daily unless there is active precipitation, extreme cold, or extreme heat. In the event that the children do not get to go outside, the teachers have gross motor activities in the building's gym, large community spaces, or even in the classroom. Parent involvement. We love having parents come to volunteer and help, especially now that our COVID protocols have died down a bit. This is probably the best part about being a preschool parent, is being able to go in and read a story, share something about your family, culture, what you do, arts and crafts. It is super, super important to go in and see what your child does on the daily and be a part of their school day. And we love having parents come in and read books and do crafts and just be a part of all the events. It makes their whole day that much more special. So the Hoboken Early Childhood Advisory Council is something that we truly love doing, and we've gotten a lot more participation this year than we have in previous years. We almost have a parent volunteer from every single site, which is great. I ask, if you become a Hoboken parent, reach out to us, ask about it. It's a fun group that you get to meet other parents from other sites, talk about things that you can do to help make our preschool program a great one, and help out with a couple of different workshops and other things that we have happening, like our upcoming preschool carnival that I will plug later on for everyone. And we also hold a ton of parent workshops throughout the school year. There are some during the day. We also partner with both of the providers to offer one at night, because we also know, as working families, you can't always make it during the day. So we have some health services slides for you. This is one of the main reasons I sent this slide deck out to everyone, because this holds a lot of important information with immunizations and physical exams. If you need a universal health form, we do have them here. You can reach out to us via email and we can send you a copy of it, so you can bring it with you to the pediatrician to get it filled out for registration, which is in a couple weeks. I'm going to skip this slide because this one has more information that is really important for registration. Your immunization requirements for your child, those are on the next slide. Proof of vaccination is required to be submitted upon enrollment. If we do not have that, we cannot continue with registration. And if you are submitting foreign records, they have to be transcribed into English. A physical exam is also required to be submitted for enrollment prior to school attendance and must be updated annually. So if your child has a physical exam that was done on January 5th of this year, it is needed to be updated January 5th of the following year, so 2024. So it is good. We have to have the physical exam completed within 12 months of starting school. So if it is almost out of compliance, it's okay. You can just go get another one and bring it on in for us. So this is what the Universal Child Health Record Form looks like. Like I said, if you need a copy of it, email us. There's emails at the end of the slideshow, so you know how to get in touch with us. This is an easy thing for us to be able to give to you. So vaccines required for preschool attendance are as follows. Your DTaP, we need 4 doses. Your polio, 3 doses. MMR, 1 dose after the first birthday. Varicella, 1 dose after first birthday. HIV, 1 dose after first birthday. The PCV, 1 dose after first birthday. And the influenza, the flu shot. This is the most important thing I can tell you. 1 dose annually. Please note, between September 1st and December 31st. Please don't get it before September 1st, because then it becomes a little bit of a problematic situation. Try and get it between September 1st and December 31st. Okay, the other reason why I sent this is for our Department of Special Services. Normally, we have Dr. Cecilia Delia here to talk all about special services. But the one thing I do want you to know is that we are special services partners with Hopes and Miles Square to identify students who are in need of special education and related services. PERS members provide support and suggested interventions to teachers to help assist those students who are within a general education classroom setting. The PICs confer regularly with the PERS to discuss how to support teachers and students, so everybody works together. We meet once a month to talk and plan things out and figure out how we can help each family who has a student or a child who has a disability. If a student has a limited response to intervention, we may choose to refer the student to the early childhood child study team. Now, that is not a scary thing at all. They are there to help support you and help your child succeed. And that, I think, is the most important part. The special ed department holds a special place in my heart. My son also attends school here in Hoboken and went through preschool disability and all of that stuff, and he is now a thriving 8th grader in more pre-AP classes than I can count on 2 hands. So he's doing great, and I really attribute a lot of the skills and the growth he has to him being here in Hoboken. This first star is the most important. If your child receives early intervention services, it does not mean your child will automatically receive special education and related services with the Hoboken School District. That is not a bad thing. I always get a lot of parents who are upset because their child doesn't qualify for services. And that's what we want. We want them to be able to succeed and thrive on their own. And if they need help, they need help. But if they don't, that is a good thing. So please do not be upset about that. A child who receives early intervention services does not get priority placement for a seat in the preschool program. They will send a referral to the Department of Special Services to inform them that a child who will soon be turning 3 is receiving services and resides in Hoboken. Then what they do is that the child study team would then contact the family to arrange a meeting, discuss if testing is warranted, and determine if they do need those services moving on into preschool. Placement in a school would be contingent on the plan created with the team based on the evaluations conducted. Not every school is a service site. Currently, our service sites are Wallace, Brant, Connors, and Rue. We have 4 service sites. So with that being said, if your child starts off the year and they are in a regular class, let's say at the Jubilee Center, and they're starting to have a speech issue, if they are found that they need speech, we would have to move them from the Jubilee Center to another site, Wallace, Brant, Connors, or Rue. So just keep that in mind if that does happen. Services will always continue until a student is re-evaluated and found to be not eligible. A student who is found eligible before their 3rd birthday may start receiving services on the exact day that they turn 3 years old. So that is the basics of special ed and pre-K. Just a little rundown of who is part of the early childhood study team for anybody who doesn't know. It's your learning disabilities teacher consultant, your school psychologist, a school social worker, a speech pathologist, and usually the classroom teacher. Okay, I'm gonna pass things over to Miss Diana Milne, who is our program registration guru.
Program application requirements. In order to apply for the Hoboken Early Childhood Education Program for the 23-24 school year, you must be a Hoboken resident. Your child must turn 3 or 4 years old on or before September 30th of 2023. This year, preschool registration will take place during the 4th week of March. Like previous years, registration has been taking place online. The online registration portal will open Monday, March 20th at 8:30 a.m. And the online registration portal will close on Friday, March 24th at 3 p.m. We will host a on-site registration date, which is Friday, March 24th, from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Reservations are required.
So you can call the number that's on the flyer and you can talk with Miss Denise and she will get you set up for a reservation.
To reserve your spot on-site registration, please call the 201-356-3695. That's Miss Denise Brooks. And that date again is Friday, March 24th. Time is 8:30 to 2:30. And it'll be located at Calabro Multipurpose Room, which is 524 Park Ave.
So when you come to that Calabro school, you wouldn't go through the main doors, you can go through the side gate and you will see a set of doors right in the back, and that is the preschool entrance. Very important to note, any application received after 3 p.m. on Friday, March 24th, 2023 is considered late and will not be included in the lottery. I'm going to stop there because we have had more questions than I can count about a lottery. I will not know if a lottery is needed until registration is over. In case that it is, we will let you know as soon as possible. If you do not hear that there is a lottery, then good news, there is no lottery. So that is the most important thing to tell you. We don't know if there's going to be a lottery. We have not had a lottery in the past 4 years. 4 years. We have had a lot of parents reaching out, so we may have a good chunk of registration this year. We may not. We don't know. We will know after the 24th to see how many registrations we have received. And if there is a lottery, I promise you will hear from us.
And it will be held in May.
Yes.
Documentation required to register. 1 copy of a current lease, deed, or mortgage statement. 1 copy of a current cable, phone, PSE&G, bank statement, or a credit card. Copy of your most current vaccination records with your child's name on it and date of birth. Foreign copies must be translated into English. A copy of your child's physical exam. Make sure that it's signed and stamped by the doctor. Copy of your child's birth certificate or passport. Foreign copies must be translated into English. And a copy of the parent or guardian's photo ID or passport.
Again, you must reside in Hoboken. I know Weehawken, Jersey City, there are places that are nice and close to here, but unfortunately, if you do not reside in Hoboken, I cannot have you in our pre-K program. If you need help finding out about the pre-K program in the town that you currently reside in, reach out. I have no problem with helping you set that up. Each applicant's proof of residency will be checked by a Board of Education residency verification officer. You might have a home visit that's warranted if something just doesn't look quite right. If there is a lease that is not in your name, but in a family member's name, that might be a reason for our residency verification officer to do a home visit. We're not going to tell you when we're going to come. It's just going to happen. Also, your child must turn 3 or 4 years old by September 30th. I have a lot of parents always ask me if their child's birthday is maybe September 28th. Do we think that it's too soon for them to go to school, that they might not be able to handle it? your children are the most resilient, and being in a classroom with children of all different ages in that bracket is really good for them. So take the chance, put them in and see how it works. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Okay, current preschool locations. I'm going to state this numerous times tonight. I cannot guarantee you placement at any of these locations. Even if you live next door to the branch school, I cannot guarantee that you will be placed there. So, as many of you that have asked for placement at a certain site already, I cannot guarantee that. We try our best, we really do, but we can't always guarantee it. There are a lot of people who live uptown and downtown, really close to buildings that fill up like that. So our sites are the Joseph F. Brandt Elementary School, the David E. Roos School, which has both Hopes and Miles Square in it. The Brandt School is a Hope site. Thomas G. Connor School is a Hope site. Wallace Elementary School, a Miles Square site. St. Francis, Miles Square. Early Childhood Learning Center at Calabro, also Miles Square. Early Childhood Learning Center at Jackson Street, also Miles Square. And the Jubilee Center rounds out our sites, and that is a Hope's location. Priority placement. So, children with special needs, as confirmed by our friends over at the Office of Special Services, and the student's IEP, will have priority placement. Children who are Head Start eligible or considered homeless, they get priority placement. Children with siblings already enrolled in the Hoboken Public School District in grades 1 through 12, not kindergarten, 1 through 12 for the 2023-24 school year also get priority placement. But note, if they are in a charter school, that does not count. They are independent schools outside of our public school district. Okay, I'm gonna fly through these because these are in our Q&A. But I wanted you to have some information. As I emailed this out to everybody, you have the email for myself, Miss Milne, Miss Barmack, Miss Estevez Vargas, and our fantastic ECE registration email. You will get a ton of information from that. I also emailed everybody the link for today from there. I have the emails of everyone that you need at the Department of Special Services, Dr. Dalia, Ms. Hernandez, and Ms. Jackie Nunez. And that is the end of that. Hold on a second. Okay, thank you. So that is the basis of our preschool program. I'm really thankful that you were all able to join us for that. So now we're going to open up the question and answer portion of our Zoom call. So everybody has that frequently asked questions page. It is linked over in the webinar chat. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the question and answer section. Okay, I see one that I am just going to talk about now. Yes, you are supposed to receive 4 out of 5 days of play plan. So you receive one every other month. Elena, if you can email me so I can talk with you on that, because I'd love to know what site your child is at and why they only receive a play plan maybe every other month, because that I'm not thrilled with. So I would like to help you with that one. So if you could shoot me an email, I'm actually going to write my email for you. Let me see. Here we go. And teacher placement with an older sibling's teacher taken into account. It depends on what grade the sibling is in. If they're in grades 1 and up, yes. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that we will not try our best to place them in the same building, because I know what it's like having to drop off at one site and get to another. It's hard. So we want to make sure that everybody has the ample opportunity to make it to a site without running back and forth like a crazy person. So we will do our best, but we can't guarantee that they will be in the same building. Bonnie, I see your question about eczema. Yes, the family advocates, the nurse, the teacher will know. The family advocates are very good at applying something, especially a medication for eczema. Just have a doctor's note that comes along with it, so they know that it is what they are supposed to do. So that is always a good. Okay. Let's see, a couple other things. I'm trying to think of one of our most frequently asked questions. And that is going to be, aside from placement, we try our best to make sure that everybody is placed as close as possible. We will never go over 0.9 miles away from your house. So that does mean that there might be a time where you're going to have a 15-minute walk from your house to the school. There is a transfer request link that will be sent out, so that if you decide that the placement isn't great for you, you can fill out that request. Now, like I said, if there's a place like Connors that has 15 children in one class, I can't possibly fit your child in a class that is chock full. But we will keep you on that request list, and if something happens that a child moves out of town and there's a spot open, we will always let you know. A lot of times that can happen around this time of year, sometimes around January, and if that's the case, then you might not want to move them at that point in time, but there is always going to be an option. If there's something that comes up, we will do our best. Okay. Miss Milne, can you come over here real quick? How far back can utility bills and proof of residency be dated?
So it should be a month before, a month or 2 months before. That's it.
So we don't take ones that are 6 months out, should be a month, 2 months tops.
So if you're registering in March, the bill should be a January or February bill.
Okay, Chris, it says if we get a placement for one child's kindergarten with a pre-K child get assigned to the same school. If not initially, then is there an option for a in-year transfer? Tracy's taken that one, but yes, we try to do our best to put them at the same school, but especially with kindergarten, we can't guarantee that. There is that transfer request form that we ask for you to fill out if that happens to be the case, and we try our best. Okay, is there a separate room for before and after care? Girls, you are on point. Okay, can you send food to locations where you have to buy it if a child is diagnosed with low weight or another related issue? Yes. And that's only at Miles Square or Hope's Brand. If, Nestor, you find that your child is placed at Hope's Connors, Hope's Jubilee, or Hope's Rue, that do not offer the option for you to send food in, then you would reach out to us and we would work on transferring your child to a building where they are able to bring their own food with them, so that you do not have to worry about that. The health form, you have to have it, it has to be in that year frame. So let's say that you filled out the health form and got it done December of 2022, you have till December of 2023 for that form to be counted as acceptable. So if it's past that, then you have to have a new one. Right. Is there anything else that we forgot? I don't think so. The biggest thing of all is, okay, this is a good one. When we move into the area post-registration and there is a lottery and we don't get a spot, what are our options? So when we've had a lottery, when is the longest time they've gone? I want to say October.
October, every student was placed by October.
So every student was placed by October, and that is people that come in post-registration. Now, Chris, the interesting part is depending on how far post-registration you come, that might not even be a problem. So that is something that you can reach out to Diana, Denise, or myself about at one of our emails, and we can help you with that when you let us know when you're moving in. So we have an idea. What is the time trajectory for the wait list? For example, if I'm waitlisted in June, how soon will I hear if there's an opening? Marissa, that could be anywhere from a couple weeks. That could be in a couple months. Usually, if you're waitlisted in June, we might hear by the end of the summer, beginning of fall. We could hear even sooner than that. So there's really, every year, the time trajectory is very different. This time of registration during the, no. Time of registration during the registration period does not affect the chances of getting a place. So you don't have to worry about that. You have the whole week to register. It is, if you register at March 24th at 4 p.m., then that affects that, but not anytime during. So it doesn't matter if you were the first person on Monday, March 20th, or the last person on March 24th at 3 p.m. It does not matter. Marie, so aftercare is usually at the same location as school. You do not have to pick up your child and bring them to the aftercare location. You don't have to do that. That is handled there. If by any chance here at Jubilee, they walk to Connors for aftercare, you don't have to come pick your child up. They are all monitored. They walk over there, they make it over there, they get a new place to play in, and they love it. So you do not need to cart them back and forth between aftercare locations if it's not at your site. Dipti, so when will we know which school our child is placed in? June 15th, on or around that time is when you will get your letter. And that letter will tell you your provider and your location spot. It's not going to tell you your teacher. It's not going to tell you the classroom. That comes later on. One thing we are doing differently this year is we are going to have a preschool open house probably around June 20th. So you will have your letters stating your location and your provider. This preschool open house should be housed over at 605 Jackson Street, and it will allow you the opportunity to come into the building and go to the school that your child is placed at and talk to people from that school. You'll be able to meet the site directors. You'll be able to meet family advocates. You will be able to meet some teachers that are there and be able to learn a little bit more about the site that your child is going to be at. And I think that's a really important thing, because coming into a place that has 8 sites with all different providers at them, it's important to know who you are bringing your child with and where they're going. So I think it's going to be a really good thing for us to have that this year. Marissa, it is not a dumb question at all. What day does school start? So that goes off of our school calendar. I want to say this year, I'm going to take a guess here because we do not have our school calendar out yet for the start, but I would say it's either going to be Wednesday, probably Thursday, September 7th is what it's going to look like for our first day of school. Could be Wednesday, September 6th, but we usually tend to start on a Thursday. So once we get our school calendar, that'll be set in stone, but I'm gonna say around the 6th or the 7th of September for a start date. Okay. Bobby, great question. Where do we send the required documentation for registration? I'm gonna tell you the best thing you can do is download all of those documents that Diana talked about onto your computer. And On Course is the site that we do. On our question and answer sheet, there's a QR code that brings you right to the registration link on our website. So you don't have to worry about doing it off of a phone. You'll figure it out. It's easier to do off a computer, as most things are. What you're gonna do is there will be prompts and you'll fill out each section and it'll ask you to download all the forms that you need for documentation for registration. So it'll all be there for you. Jose, good question. Do the kids of pre-K3 have to be potty trained? They do not. And I will tell you from teaching pre-K3 for quite some time, even if your child is not potty trained, they pick up quickly because these children wash their hands and go to the bathroom more than an adult does in a given day. We make sure everybody is ready to go to the bathroom, wash their hands. There's not much time for them to not be using the bathroom all the time. So they do not need to be potty trained, but they will definitely work alongside of that and learn as they go, and they'll learn at their own time. So they do not need to be potty trained. Okay. Diana, this is you one. Murray asked that the registration requires our lease. It is a 30-page long document with a page with our name and the address be enough.
So you should submit the first page where it has your name, the residency, apartment number, if that's there, and then the lease term. We need to see the lease terms. So hopefully that's usually on the first page, sometimes on the second page, and then we need the signature page. So we only need 3 pages. You can cut it down. And if we're missing any documentation, we will let you know. We'll reach out to you through the ECE registration.
Okay. These are all really, really good questions. So I thank you all for asking them, because no question is a stupid question, I promise. Marissa, it's okay. So registration opens online on March 20th. So if you go to the Hoboken Public School Early Childhood page, one of the ladies, can somebody put that into the chat for me, where our link is for the website, so that you can go online and get that right there? That would be really helpful. If not, I can grab it too. Let's see. Just because it's easier to get that when you have it. So you'll notice that the Hoboken Public School website has a lot of stuff on it. If you scroll down, there's a big red bar, and you'll see a little person with its arms up like this, and that's our early childhood education site. You click on that, and it brings you to our early childhood education site, and there's a spot on preschool enrollment, and I am getting that for you. You'll scroll down and you're going to see a preschool registration link on that site. Hold on. There we go. So Marissa, and to everybody else, that is the site that brings you to our preschool enrollment page. You'll scroll down and you will see that link there. Okay. So yes, so for the lease, we only need the first 2 pages and the signature page, so 3 pages. And that is pretty much it.